Modified, and still being the 2004 AMA Pro Star champion. And here this weekend, he's elected to jump into the funny bike course with that machine on the O'Reilly lane. This not the turbo bike. You hear that high-powered sound with the nitrous-injected four-cylinder for the C&W Cycle Works team. As Barrow will take on Tim Burrell of Milo, Iowa, for the turbo bike of Gary Clark and Company of Kawasaki. Burrell, an experimental mechanic for John Deere during the week, kind of an unusual job. We'll see what he can do here on board that turbo bike for Gary Clark and the Harry's team. Turbocharged Kawasaki. Gary Clark, of course, the man who dominated the PMFR funny bike racing action with AMA Pro Star for several years. Now retired as a rider. Burrell goes in, pre-stages and stages. He's ready to run. Meanwhile, Burrell hadn't even pre-staged yet, so Tony Williams Cycle Works, MTC sponsored by Hendersonville, Tennessee, on the O'Reilly lane, going against the Gary Clark team entry with Tim Burrell with the hot seat out of Milo, Iowa. On the Mobil 1 side of the track, Barrow with the nitrous-injected four-cylinder power plant on the O'Reilly lane. Well, Burrell runs the turbo bike on the Mobil 1 side of the track. We're going to be on hold for several minutes with this. Certainly hope Tim Burrell's be okay after a heavy hit against the retaining wall, coming in contact with those tires in front of the wall here at the road course entrance. Starting line crew already out there checking out the situation with Tim Burrell. That was a very heavy hit. In the meantime, Charlie Farah ran 677 and 194 on that pass with his nitrous-injected bike for C&W Cycle Works and MTC. The safety crew is right on the scene, and obviously we're going to be on hold here for a few minutes with the situation on the starting line. Tim Burrell's bike looked like it may have had the throttle hung open on the launch as it made a move toward the retaining wall, and for some reason he was unable to get the bike to slow before the impact with the retaining wall. Once again, we certainly wish him the best and hope that his injuries are as minor as possible, but obviously that was a very heavy hit, fortunately cushioned by those tires that were up against the wall there next to the racetrack. The ambulance is on the scene.
Moving around.
And racers in the staging lanes, for those of you that got your leather zipped up and helmets on and so forth, you might want to go ahead and take the helmets off and unzip your leathers. We're going to be on hold here for a few minutes with the situation. Obviously, we don't want to speculate on the condition of the rider. The safety crew and medical personnel are on the scene right now, attending to Tim Burrell's needs, and we are going to be on hold here for several minutes here at qualifying, so be advised of that.
I hope that guy's okay. Is he okay? You're filming that?
Eddie Gunter Jr. on the O'Reilly lane from Virginia. That nitrous-injected Suzuki. Steve Smithers, national number 7 plate holder here in Fast by Gas Pro Modified on the Mobil 1 lane. Running that Kawasaki for the PR Factory Store, MTC, MSD, and Matei Cycles, Brad Matei and Company. Matei, a longtime IDBA racer in the old Super Eliminator class, which is running as an exhibition category here this weekend at Memphis Motorsports Park. Meanwhile, Smithers charges down the Mobil 1 lane to the number 1 qualifying. He wants to do the burnout. Charles Spencer Spencer of Germantown, Tennessee goes against him on the Mobil 1 lane. Spencer, backed by Fast by Gas, his Kawasaki 1497 cc's. Number 1 qualifier is Steve Smithers at 7:04, the racer out of Kansas, running 7.043, 186.25 miles an hour. Just a few moments ago here at Memphis Motorsports Park. It's currently Louis T. top speed of the meet of Fast by Gas Pro Modified. Great handlebar matchup here. A lot of smoke out of Owens' bike right at the finish line area. And it's a 7-11 for Ashley Owens of Davie, Florida. The 200-mile-an-hour man is off the O'Reilly Auto Parts lane. And a lot of picture of Bonnie Garrett. As he just face off with Will Henson, the 200-mile-an-hour runner from Indy, has problems here. And it's going to, as Ron Webb, who comes all the way from Anchorage, Alaska, will be on the O'Reilly Auto Parts lane. Webb going on board his beautifully prepared Fire and Ice bike, which is prepared by the Motorcycles Unlimited folks, Carl Allfeld Company out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, maintaining this machine for Ron Webb, who runs a paving and snow removal business in Anchorage, Alaska. He flies to all the AMA Pro Star events around the country. They keep the bike in Oklahoma during the racing season. Solar power here for Ron Webb. 1,325 cc's with the liquid dynamite, nitromethane in the fuel tank. 1,000 horsepower on tap for Webb. This motorcycle that tips the scale to right around 1,000 pounds with him on it. Tommy Sloan goes against him, a 175 cubic inch Harley Davidson, a V-twin power plant, non-supercharged, has a fuel injector with the nitro in the tank. The Harley a bit lighter than the supercharged 4-cylinder bike. And he'll need that to be able to deal with that high-powered 4-cylinder machine of Ron Webb. Here in round 1 action, Tommy Sloan wins the Harley, coming out of Piedmont, South Carolina for the Sloan Racing Team. Made him up to 689 yesterday. Takes the number 4 qualifying spot in the Heroes of Top Fuel action. He'll stage up on the Mobil 1 lane. That's the lane that Ron Webb put him in. As Webb has the lane choice to pick the O'Reilly lane with that Motorcycles Unlimited Fire and Ice bike. Your number 3 qualifier yesterday is 660, speed of 190. Webb flies by. Sloan goes over the center line, and that's a TQ. Ron Webb, 6:18.2. Line at stop speed for the quarter-mile run with those reflector blocks out on the center line. Right now, more nitro burning action here with the Heroes of Top Fuel, brought to you by AMA Pro Star, B&B Promotions, Webcam, and Trim Tech. As the Winnebago Motorhome Top Fuel machine gets ready to go for Chris Hand of Nauvoo, Alabama, on the O'Reilly side of the racetrack. Up against the one-of-a-kind Wild Australian, attacking halfway around the world, gets the up into that monster burnout on the Mobil 1 lane. This racing innovation sprint deck, GM Triumph, a 4-cylinder Triumph power plant, going into the 6-cylinder Dodge Nitro. That's very unique body work on horses Jay Upton, as I tries to keep the air with the streamlines there. Might the bike handle very well. I kind of wonder what it would handle like in the serious crosswind, but Upton's made many runs with this bike down under in Australia, and has gone as quick as a 6:19 a lap time over a mile. Upton's bike also one of the few motorcycles on the planet equipped with a drag chute to help slow it after a run on the quarter mile. Burnout complete, a pair of 1,000 horsepower motorcycles ready to attack the track. Chris Hand from Winnebago Motorhome and Brett Machine out of Alabama on the O'Reilly lane. And the Aussie Invader, Jay Upton, that one-of-a-kind Triumph on the Mobil 1 lane. And Upton with the win light going to Chris Hand with his career best run. 6:10. Barry McBride on the O'Reilly Auto Parts lane as McBride just saw Chris Hand, one of his arch rivals in the category, turn his career best time with that 6:10 blast on the O'Reilly Auto Parts lane. McBride would love to have a 5-second run as his brother Steve McBride, who's his crew chief, told us during the pre-race ceremony. Spider-Man ready to go with that 1,000 horsepower plus Kawasaki from the state of Virginia. Triptex, Pingle, Redline Oil, and Drag Specialties, all Larry McBride, the only man ever on the 5 second zone, over 240 miles an hour on a nitro burning motorcycle. As they push him back to the starting line after that long tire smoking burnout. Of course, these bikes have a rear tire that comes right off of a funny car on the back. And actually, you can step right off the bike and it'll stand there by itself. Doesn't even need a kickstand because the rear tire's so wide. Larry McBride back on the starting line was our number one qualifier yesterday as he ran 6:09 and 6:01 during the qualifying action. His best speed, 234.29 miles an hour with that 6.018 second run that he turned yesterday. But he's knocking on the 5 second door here at Memphis Motorsports Park. We'll see if he can break into the 5s right now on this bye run here in the first round. As McBride, by being the number one qualifier, or in the bye run here in the first round with 5 bikes in competition in round 1 today. Hogan finished 4th in the points last season. He runs on the O'Reilly Auto Parts lane coming out of Arvada, Colorado. On board the Sasha Shoes Bill Robinson Suzuki, 1,327 cc's of turbo power. His first ride opponent, Mark Chisholm, failing to make the opening bell here today. So Hogan will get a competition no-show bye run. Qualified the number 1 spot yesterday at 666, 197 miles per hour. So he's been in the class of the field thus far this weekend. But you can bet that Hogan will take a hard shot down the O'Reilly lane, trying to get lane choice for round 2 action later on, as he would love to gain more valuable points toward the series championship here at PMFR Funny Bike this year. Glenn Nickelberry and Travis Davis in 2004. Hogan's Turbo Suzuki out of High Country of Colorado rips into the 660 zone again at 6. Coming up next, Travis Davis of Douglas, Georgia with the Davis Racing Kawasaki. He'll be on the O'Reilly lane as we continue on with round 1 racing action today here at PMFR Funny Bike. Davis with an outside shot at winning the championship this year. Needs to keep pace with Corey Hogan, who just got a first round win on the O'Reilly lane. Here Davis will face off with Troy Brown of Parsons, Kansas with the Leno's Motorsports wins at MTC back turbo Kawasaki. Red Orange Machine on the Mobile 1 lane, qualified number 2 yesterday at 695. Well, Davis, who's in the chase for the championship, had problems yesterday in qualifying, running 867 and 795 is his best number, which had him in the number 7 spot, headed for eliminations today. So for Travis Davis, a guy who can break into the 6s if everything's set just right. He knows he needs his best run of the event right now to deal with Troy Brown here in round 1. Round goes red.